Hello and welcome to Investment Insight, your clear take on the markets. Let's get started.
Great to be back. And looking at the research we've got in front of us today, it looks like we have our work cut out for us.
We really do. Normally we sit down and we're looking for these big, clear trends, lines on a graph all moving in the same direction. But today our mission is, well, it's a little different.
We're looking for the disconnects.
Exactly. The places where the headline says one thing, but, the money says something else entirely.
Precisely. We're here in February 2026. The Trump administration is fully underway,
Sure.
and the market signals are just, well, mixed is probably putting it too mildly. It's a confusing time.
It feels like two different economies, doesn't it? On one hand, you've got big tech just screaming about AI, how it's changing everything right now, all that excitement.
The future is here.
And then on the other hand, you have this story about a great American manufacturing boom. But when you actually dig in and follow the cash, the story gets, well, it gets complicated.
Yeah, it's about separating the signal from the noise. And look, we're not here to get into the politics of it all, whether a policy is good or bad. We're just here to follow the market mechanics.
The nuts and bolts.
And right now, those mechanics are telling us two very different stories. One about tech and another about manufacturing.
So, two big mysteries for us to solve today. First, we're going to talk about this term I keep hearing, AI washing. We'll look at why Google is basically paying people to quit their jobs.
And that's not just a Google thing. It's a fundamental shift in how Wall Street even thinks about employees.
Then second, we're going to tackle this confusing manufacturing story. Why are we hearing boom when the factories themselves are, kind of quiet?
It's a classic case of data misdirection. The construction cranes are there, but they're not building what you think they are.
Okay, let's start with the digital world then. Let's talk Google. There was this memo that got out, caused a huge stir. They called it voluntary exit packages. Now, when I hear voluntary exit, that sounds like a very polite way of saying you're fired.
It's a soft layoff, absolutely. This was reported by Business Insider, and the context here is just so important. The memo was from Philip Schindler, Google's chief business officer.
And the language he used was pretty intense.
Oh, it was fascinating. He didn't just say, we need to be more efficient. He said the company needs to move electric fast and go all in on AI.
Electric fast. That sounds more like a superhero movie than a business plan.
It implies a certain intensity, doesn't it? That the old way of doing things, all the meeting, the layers of management, that's all over. The message was pretty clear. If you can't keep up, here's the door.
But here's the part I don't quite get. Usually with cuts, you see them just slash everywhere. But that's not what's happening here, is it?
No, and this is the key insight for anyone watching headcount numbers. The reports say the customer-facing sales teams, the people actually bringing in the money, are mostly safe.
So the rainmakers get to stay.
Of course. They're protecting the top line. But it's the middle layers that are in the crosshairs. Solution teams, corporate development, a lot of support roles.
Why them?
The theory is that AI can now do a lot of that work. Can it generate a lead list? Can it draft a proposal? Yes. So Google's betting they just don't need as many people doing that kind of support work anymore.
It reminds me of the self-checkout lanes at the grocery store.
Oh, how so? That's interesting.
Well, the store doesn't just fire all the cashiers one day. They're just, they install the machines, and then they just stop hiring new people. And if the cashier wants to leave, the manager says, sure, go for it. They're not firing. They're just evolving the human out of the system.
That is a perfect analogy. It's a shift from that old growth at all costs mindset to efficiency at all costs. And that brings us right to that term you mentioned, AI washing.
I love this term. It sounds so cynical, but it feels so right. Can you break it down for us?
Well, you know about greenwashing, right? A company puts a leaf on a plastic bottle and pretends it's saving the planet.
Of course. Yeah, now with 1% less plastic.
Exactly. AI washing is the 2026 version of that. It's when a company cuts jobs for old-fashioned reasons, like they overhired or just missed their budget, but they go to investors and say, we're reducing headcount because of our amazing AI innovation.
I get it. So instead of admitting we messed up, they say our robots are just so good now.
Precisely. It turns a management failure into a tech victory. And it sounds fantastic on an earnings call. It makes a simple budget cut sound like some strategic, futuristic breakthrough.
It's like my house is a complete mess, and instead of cleaning it, I just shove everything under the bed and tell my guests I'm embracing minimalism.
And if your guests were Wall Street analysts, they'd probably upgrade your stock to a buy.
That's Both funny and a little terrifying. But is this a real trend? I mean, are there numbers to back this up?
Oh, absolutely. The data from Challenger, Gray, and Christmas is pretty clear. In 2025 alone, they tracked nearly 55,000 job cuts that were explicitly blamed on AI.
55,000. Wow, that's not a small number. That's like a whole town.
Significant. But this is the other side of the coin we have to look at. A report from Forrester basically throws a bucket of cold water on this whole thing. They're warning that this is super risky.
Risky how?
Their analysis suggests a lot of companies are firing the people before the AI is actually ready to do the job.
Ooh, that sounds like a recipe for disaster. You fire the support team, and then you find out your new chatbot can't actually write a contract without making things up.
Exactly. You degrade your product, you damage your reputation.
Yeah.
So the reality check for everyone listening is, just because a CEO says AI is replacing people, it doesn't mean the AI is actually working yet. It's often just a story, a narrative.
So if I'm an investor, I shouldn't just automatically cheer when I hear AI efficiency.
You should be skeptical.
Mm-hmm.
You should ask, okay, but is it working? Are the margins actually going up? Because if you cut the support staff and your sales team suddenly slows down, well, your efficiency just killed your revenue.
That's a great takeaway. Look at the execution, not just the story. Okay, let's pivot. Let's move from the digital world to the physical one.
From bits to atoms.
Exactly. Factories, construction, real stuff. Because if you listen to the White House, we're in some kind of manufacturing supercycle. But we looked at some analysis from Stephen Ratner, and he's not buying it.
No, Ratner's very data-driven, and he's pointing out this huge gap between the political narrative and the actual numbers. The story is, we're reshoring, manufacturing is booming. But the hard data,
What does it say?
according to Reuters, manufacturing jobs actually fell last year by 68,000.
Wait, hold on. They went down. With all the push for Made in America, we lost factory jobs.
We did. Now, there was a little tick up in the PMI. That's a key health metric for manufacturing in January. But the analysis suggests that's probably temporary, just companies restocking after the holidays, not some huge expansion.
Okay, this is where I get confused, and I think a lot of people do. I drive around and I see cranes everywhere. I see massive construction sites. If they're not building factories for cars, what on earth are they building?
And that is the multi-billion-dollar question.
Hmm?
The Washington Post did a fantastic piece on this. You're right, there is a construction boom, but the buildings, they're not factories. They're data centers.
Data centers, like huge warehouses just full of computers.
That's it. The AI boom we just talked about. It needs a physical home, and it needs a staggering amount of electricity and cooling and concrete.
So the manufacturing boom is really just us building giant houses for computers.
In large part, yes. Think about it this way. Your neighbor starts building a huge addition on their house. You see the trucks, you hear the noise, you think, oh, they're building a nursery for a new baby.
Right, a normal assumption. It's for the family.
But then you find out they're actually building a giant server room to mine Bitcoin. The activity is there, the spending is there, but the purpose is totally different. And that creates a huge problem called resource displacement.
Resource displacement. What does that mean in plain English?
It means there are only so many skilled electricians and pipe fitters in the country. If a tech giant is willing to pay an electrician triple the normal rate to rush build a data center in Virginia,
Then that electrician isn't available to build a car factory in Michigan.
or a new housing development in Texas, exactly. The AI boon is physically sucking the skilled labor out of the rest of the economy. The money is getting trapped in this AI infrastructure, not in making things we can actually buy at a store.
It's like a game of musical chairs, and the only chair left is inside a server farm.
That's a great way to put it. And speaking of industries left standing, we have to talk about the auto industry, the EV sector.
Oh man, the EV story. It feels like it changes every other day.
It does, and that's the core of the problem. It's chaos. We're seeing reports about the Detroit Big Three: GM, Stellantis, Ford. They are taking a beating.
How bad is it?
The Wall Street Journal put some numbers on it. The Big Three have taken over $50 billion in financial hits related to their EV plans.
50 billion with a B.
With a B. Money just, poof, got up in smoke. GM took a $6 billion charge. Stellantis took a massive $22 billion hit.
That's just a staggering amount of money to write off. How did they get it so wrong? Weren't EVs supposed to be the future?
Well, this is where business and politics collide. The problem isn't just that consumer demand has been a little shaky. The much bigger problem is policy uncertainty.
Okay, explain that. How does being uncertain cost $50 billion?
Okay, imagine you're playing soccer, you're running down the field. But every 10 minutes, the ref blows the whistle and says, okay, new rule. The goal on the left is the only one that counts now.
I'd be confused.
Then 10 minutes later, nope, actually, you can't use your feet anymore. What would you do?
I'd probably just stop running. What's the point? I don't even know the rules.
Exactly. That is what the automakers are feeling. It's called time inconsistency. The rules for tomorrow don't match the rules from today. Tax credits appear and disappear. The EPA sets a rule, then a new administration signals they might roll it back.
And we just saw that with the EPA under the Trump administration, right?
Yes, Reuters reported the EPA just scrapped some key justifications for its greenhouse gas limits. That signals the rules are getting looser. But then you have states like California that might stay strict.
So if you're GM, you don't know who you're building the car for.
Precisely. And you cannot build a billion-dollar factory on a maybe. So they pause, they write off the investment, they take the hit, and the whole manufacturing sector slows down.
So when you put it all together, you have the AI sector sucking up all the construction workers to build data centers.
And you have the auto sector basically paralyzed because the rules of the game keep changing. It's a perfect storm.
And the so what for the listener is that if you're looking for an economic recovery in Made in USA T-shirts and cars, you might be waiting a while.
You might. The recovery is happening, but it's happening in the power grid. It's happening in server cooling systems. It's an invisible boom.
You can't wear a server to work.
No, but you use one every single time you search for something online. The economy's utility is shifting from physical goods to digital ones, and that transition is messy and expensive.
So let's just try to bring this all home. We started with Google.
Right. We saw tech companies are using this idea of AI washing to make simple cost-cutting look like futuristic innovation. They're cutting that middle layer of white-collar jobs.
And then we moved to the construction sites.
Where the building boom is actually a data center boom, which is starving the rest of the economy, like housing and traditional manufacturing of workers and materials.
And finally, the car companies. They're stuck in neutral, losing billions because of all the policy uncertainty.
It's a huge warning sign. Markets hate uncertainty more than they hate bad news. If you don't know the rules, you just don't play the game.
It's a lot to take in. It really feels like the economy is, it's shifting under our feet into something totally new.
It's a structural change.
Yeah.
We are in the middle of a very messy, very expensive transition. And it leaves a lot of people wondering where they're going to fit.
So here's a thought I want to leave everyone with. A question for the ride home. If AI is taking the office jobs, like at Google, and the AI infrastructure is eating up all the construction resources, what does the average American economy even look like in 5 years? Who's left?
That's the question that keeps a lot of economists up at night. That hollowed-out middle is no longer just a theory. We're kind of seeing the blueprints for it being drawn right now.
Something to think about. Thank you for listening to this deep dive. We hope it gave you a clearer picture of where the money is really going. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button.
See you next time.